Everyone, as I was sharing earlier, I've taught this once before at a different church, and we're really excited about being able to teach this today. We believe that God's gifts are meant for every believer. It's not withheld from any one of us. It's freely given because we have a good Father, and that this is Father's Day, and I've personally experienced the Father's love in all things that He has shown me, with gifts, with life, with business. Whatever we put our hands to, I believe that God is really, really doing a special thing, and I believe in this church and the churches here in Houston. So I wanted to start off with just a scripture. A lot of people hear dream interpretation, they think it's kind of an old school thing. In actuality, God speaks to us a lot in our dreams. And here in Acts 2:17, you see that it says, in the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. Obviously, dreams aren't withheld only for old people. However, you see dreams all over the Bible, and you see the things that God has brought people through. So, what is a dream? So, according to the dictionary, a dream is a succession of images, thoughts, emotions that pass through the mind during sleep. What does a dream do? Oh, why does God use dreams? Well, because it allows Him to have our undivided attention. We're so busy, especially nowadays, that a lot of us don't even pay attention to our dreams. We assume that dreams are just our imagination. But the truth is, God is speaking to us all the time, through visions, through dreams, through other things. And as I mentioned earlier, is dream interpretation for today. Yes, it's in the Bible. And anytime there was a dream, there was always an interpretation of those dreams. And you see that God has called certain people to be full-time dream interpreters and other people just to interpret dreams on occasion. But I believe that when Jesus came, He gave us the full portion. He didn't come and give us tidbits of the Old Testament. He came and said, all I have, you have. All I have done, you will do. And greater. So what are dreams used for? Throughout the Bible, I pulled out 4 things. Obviously, there might be more. But the first one is protection. A lot of times, God will show you things that may happen in the future to protect you, to keep you from doing and making mistakes. The next one is direction. Some of us, when we're going through anxious times in our life, we're trying to make big decisions. It's hard for us to pause during the day and say, God, where am I supposed to go? Like Nikki said, she got a word about dream interpretation, and around the same time, I posted this dream interpretation teaching. That was direction. But that wasn't in a dream, but that was God directing her, saying, hey, I'm directing you to do this, and here's a chance to learn something you may not have known before. Next is correction. And the last is warning. And you really see all throughout the Bible that God, from cover to cover, that dreams are really all over the Bible. From the Old Testament to the New Testament. But the problem is, with dreams, not all dreams are messages from God. Some are just dreams. Like I had an odd dream last night. I think it was because I had too much red beans and rice. But the truth is, your exterior, your environment can cause you to have odd dreams. So, which is why I really thought that God put it on my heart to teach about dream interpretation on a regular basis. And you'll see throughout our church, our goal is to teach sermons that people are somewhat used to, those styles. And also we want to teach practical things like dream interpretations, word of knowledge, prophecy, prophetic art. There are things that we're just going to have random classes on Sundays to help empower the body. Because this church is not about Olivia and I. This church is about God and honoring God and really walking into our full identity of who God wants us to be. All right, so the first account of a dream is in Genesis 23. It says, "But God came to Abimelech in a dream one night and said to him, 'You are as good as dead, because the woman you have taken, she is a married woman.'" Out of the four things I mentioned, this actually is two. It was correction and protection. He was interested in a married woman, so God wanted to protect him from making that mistake, and the God wanted to also correct him because of his behavior. Another dream is Jacob's ladder, and you find that in Genesis 28:10-17. And I'm going to actually go into more practical teaching later on, so I just wanted to lay the groundwork of dream interpretation. So Jacob's ladder says, "Jacob, son of Isaac, had a dream of a stairway resting on earth and reaching into heaven, where the angel of the Lord were ascending and descending on it. At the top of the stairway stood the Lord, and he said, 'I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like dust on earth, and you will spread out to the west and east, north and south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offering. I am with you, and I will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until you have done what I have promised.'" It's an eon here, done. Anyways, that was direction and protection. In this instance, God physically appeared in his dream and spoke to him. God made a promise to him on not only what he was going to receive, but what his descendants were going to receive onto his bloodline. Next one is Joseph's prophecy. And that is found in Genesis 37, 1-11. And in this instance, I said Joseph is both a dreamer and a dream interpreter. He had a dream that prophesied that his family would bow to him someday, which once shared propelled him in the direction of his destiny. Although at times things looked bleak, Joseph remained faithful, even in prison, where he interpreted two dreams to his fellow prisoners: Pharaoh's cupbearer and the baker. Joseph's interpretations were fulfilled, and the cupbearer returned to the Pharaoh's service, and the baker was killed as Joseph interpreted. 2 years later, the Pharaoh had a dream, and the cupbearer, remembering Joseph's gift, told Pharaoh about him. Once Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dream, Pharaoh promoted Joseph to second in command. This is direction. God needed Joseph to go to certain places, to experience certain things. And God directed Joseph to he brought him to prison to be promoted to fulfill his prophecy that he dreamt. I wonder who's here. Those on the line, that's my doorbell. Yeah, might be your friend. All right, so Gideon. You find Gideon in Judges 7:12-15. Gideon snuck into the enemy's camp and overheard the enemy soldiers sharing a dream he had. The interpreter, hi, how are you? The interpreter of the dream mentioned Gideon by name, predicting that Israel will win under Gideon's command. Gideon at the time was hesitant. He was a little fearful. And in hearing this dream, Gideon, this was a warning to that camp, but in hearing this dream, Gideon knew he was going to win. But it was a warning to the people who were against Gideon at the time, probably flee. All right, we got some examples also from the New Testament. So the first one is going to be Joseph, Jesus' father. Here's a few Josephs. God sent an angel into his dream to tell him that Mary was indeed telling the truth, convincing him to marry her. God continued to communicate with him in dreams, once telling him to flee Egypt away from Herod, and once again telling him that Herod has died. This was a warning and direction. God was protecting Joseph and wanted to direct him to marry Mary, because at that time, Mary being pregnant out of wedlock probably meant death. But however, when the angel of the Lord came and spoke to him in his dream, Joseph agreed. I believe this is the last one in the New Testament. Pontius Pilate's wife. You don't know the story. She had a dream that Jesus was innocent and sent a warning to her husband, Pontius Pilate. Obviously, that's a warning. Pontius Pilate, hearing this dream, could have done a few things. Could have heeded the warning and made the right decision. However, in this instance, he did not. He wanted to wash his hands clean, and he let the people make the decision when it was his rightful place to judge. All right, now let's get into the meat of dream interpretation. There are 5 questions. So I've been interpreting dreams most of my life, and I realized that once I got saved, the dream interpretations were more accurate. Obviously, because I had the Holy Spirit and I had God. And in all dream interpretations, you need to include God in every dream. But the first question you ask when you hear a dream is this dream from him? Why is that important? Because, as I shared earlier, a lot of things can cause dreams in your life. Even the devil can cause anxieties, can cause dreams, fears can cause dreams. There are a lot of things in life, exterior sources. Like last night I was sharing, red beans or rice probably caused my anxiety dream. Because I asked God immediately, is that from him? He said no, so I let it go. If he said yes, I would have gone through the steps of interpreting this dream. Number 2, ask who the dream is for. Once God says yes, this is a dream from him, ask him who it's for. Even though you're in the dream, or Olivia's in the dream, or Pedro's in the dream, it doesn't necessarily mean Pedro. It doesn't necessarily mean Crystal, or Nikki, or Casey. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a dream for that person. That person can represent something. So you have to really ask God first, is this dream from you? Number 2, who is this dream for? If it is a dream for. All right, next question I asked them. I don't do this as often anymore, but I do it when a friend emails me a dream. Is I ask them what details are important, and I just make a list. So I have 2 examples in here that I'll go through later, and you'll see how I took a dream that was emailed to me and how I broke it down. Number 4. Then I ask God basically to define each important item. Does that make sense? So God's going to say, hey, Pedro is really important in this dream. And I go, okay, what does Pedro mean? Well, in this instance, God could say in my dream, Pedro represents the Father's heart instead of representing Pedro. So it's really important to figure out what God is trying to say, trying to accomplish. And then finally, you ask what all these details combine means within your dream. So, now some of you all are taking notes. Okay, so what do you ask when you're interpreting? You have to remember that dreams are a succession of images, thoughts, and emotions. So images, what do you see? So someone's coming to you saying, I had a dream I was being chased by a dog. Let's get more details. What do you see? Well, I saw a row cat sitting in the corner staring at me. Okay, while you're running. Okay, how did you feel? The next one is, what's going through your mind? What are your thoughts at that time? Sometimes you could be being chased by something and you don't have fear in your mind. But you wake up and you assume, I'm running from something because I'm fearful. You could be, instead of running from something, you could be running to something. So it's important to figure out what God is trying to do. And I will publish this online. I'll publish it as a video online so y'all can just flip through it. And then your emotions. What are you feeling at that time? all those things matter. Like Olivia and I, when we first met, she'll tell me a dream, and she's telling me these things, and I said, it sounds like a fearful dream. You don't sound fearful. How did you feel? And she goes, actually, no fear at all. That's a big detail. If she's in a dream that should naturally be fearful for someone, and she has no fear at all. And those are the things you ask God. Why was Olivia not fearful in this dream? Y'all want to practice? Okay, so I'll read you the first dream. Okay, so the demographic is the guy who sent email. These are real dreams. The guy who emailed me, he's a male, ex-military. He was a newlywed at that time, and he's a new father. All right. So this is him speaking. He says, I was in a dark warehouse with a group of coworkers. I wanted to get out and found a door that led to the outside. I opened the door, went outside, and found myself on the side of the harbor. I noticed that there was nothing else there. I went back inside. They were looking for me, so I had to hide in the dark room under some scaffolding. As I hid, a small wiener dog in the area seemed to briefly alert them to my presence, but the dog ran off. They came in looking for me, and I turned on the lights. I noticed that they had guns, like soldiers, on a search. I saw the scaffolding, and I climbed to the top to get away from them. At the top, I saw many banners with tools and items underneath them. I started pulling them down, each banner, and giving them to the people below. When I was passing out the items, the banners, the people did not seem to be searching or in opposition of me anymore. Okay, and he added, initially the dream was black and white and very dark. But once the lights were turned on, everything was suddenly full color. You see, there's a lot of keys in there of God explaining what it was. When he said this to me, he said, hey, can you interpret this dream for me? And I said, well, let me find out if it's from God. So, first question I did was, God, is this from you? God said, yes. Next, God, who's this dream for? And it was for him. What details are important in this dream? And if it's an email or a text message, I kind of do this. I just copy and paste it, and I go through and just highlight the key points. He was in a dark warehouse. Co-workers were important. He wanted to get out. That was important, but he found the door. He went to the harbor and found nothing was there. I went back inside and was looking, and they were looking for me, so I had to hide. So he went inside, needing to hide is something. Under scaffolding, wiener dog. So I broke it down. Next question I asked was, after I made the list, what do these important items mean? So, once I broke it down, a lot of people have dream interpretation books. A lot of them are good. But the ones that don't allow the Holy Spirit to freely flow, be careful of those. So, dark warehouse equals an environment or situation he's in that's probably fearful. Co-workers represent people he knew, family, friends, etc. Wanting to get out, he felt trapped and discontentment. Harbor, when nothing was there was no way to escape. He went to the harbor, there was nothing there. He had to go back into the situation. Going back in, contentment, facing situation. Hiding, avoiding responsibilities. Scaffolding equals a structure and foundation. Wiener dog equals warning. Turning on the light was the Holy Spirit revealing plans. People having guns, like soldiers, were protection and warning. Climbing to the top was the promised land, where God, I believe that each day we have a promised land we're supposed to get to. You know, at work, God has one thing or multiple things that he wants us to accomplish. And in this dream, God was telling us we needed to get to that part. Banners represented provisions, because as soon as he saw pulling these banners down, things started happening. As he pulled down these banners, he goes increase in multiplication. All right, so the danger was alleviated as soon as he got to the top of where he needed to go. So he started pulling on these banners. The people, the guns that were looking for him stopped. They weren't around anymore. So that was an important detail. Black and white was death, and the light equals the Holy Spirit and life, right? So next question I asked was, what do all these details mean? And this was an interpretation I gave him. The dream seemed to me like a warning to him to go towards the journey God has been nudging him towards. If he does not, God will make it really uncomfortable for him. Through the journey that God leads him through, he will gain wisdom, strength to forgive people who have hurt him and taken advantage of him. His ability to forgive will allow him to climb up to his destiny. So it was a warning and a direction for him. Hey, you better do what I'm telling you to do because things are about to get tough for you. If you don't. And the thing is, God isn't making it tough for him. He's choosing the tougher road by running. Okay? Here's dream 2. Demographic of this dream. And it's important to see who you're getting the dream from as well. She's a woman. She was a newlywed at that time. All right. I saw a black Lincoln Navigator ram through the fence, through our side yard, back up, and drive the wrong way through the neighbor's yard because there was traffic. I ran out to the front to try to get the license plate, but also remember thinking it was dangerous to run outside and get their plates, but I ran anyways. I was also afraid that our dogs would get out. All right? So when you're reading this, it's not jam-packed with as many details as the last one. That was a shorter dream. So I asked God, dream from him. Obviously it was because I'm using it as an example. Who is this dream for? It was actually for the church this person was a part of at the time, and for her and her family. And what details were important. So I asked God what details were important. These are the things that came in. The black Lincoln Navigator. It should actually be black and then Lincoln Navigator. The separation of those. The fence. Driving the wrong way to the neighbor's yard. The fact that there was traffic. The license plate was important. The fact that she ran out anyway when she was fearful. And then she was afraid the dogs would get out. And I asked God, I made the list. And I asked God, what does each thing mean? The fence represented outside protection and covering. Black represented the enemy. Lincoln Navigator was an attacker, or something wrong was about to happen. The Navigator itself was a direction or misdirection. Those key words, someone said a black SUV, but she knew it was a Lincoln Navigator, so that was important. Driving the wrong way was being led astray. Because someone crashes into your house and you're chasing them, you're going to follow them. So this thing came in, tried to lead her astray. The neighbors represented friends. The license plate represented the identity of the attacker. Leaving the house, even though she was afraid, represented courage. And the fears of letting the dogs get free was losing relationships. Okay. We asked God what it meant, and this is the interpretation. This is a warning to the woman that her covering wasn't going to be much of a covering during the next attempt of the enemy to break through. The initial covering will fail. However, since it took down the fence and it did not take any part of the house, that means the attacker will make a mess and not cause any serious damage. The house represents her heart, spirit, and soul. There was actually one other section about the dog I thought I included. The dog represented relationships and friends that she was afraid she was going to lose because of this attack. So I can tell you a little bit more about that dream. This person and her husband received that warning and decided, and then later on got a word from God about leaving the church. And then their husband had a dream, a warning about covering as well. And I can share a little bit more. Let's see what time it is. I have a Father's Day lunch to run to, so I've got to check the time. All right, so I'll share a little bit more. So the husband had a dream. His dream, there was a party at the house. He heard rushing waters upstairs in the attic. Everyone from that church they were a part of were at the church. in their house. He gathers all the men and the pastor and the pastor's wife and says, "Can you come help me look in the attic?" He climbs to the attic. The roof is missing. It was just the structure of the roof. Rain was pouring, and a river was rushing through the top of the house. And in the dream, this man heard God say, "There are holes in your covering." So where suddenly we realize is that the family is being exposed to something because their spiritual covering wasn't covering anymore. And in essence, so this man goes to the pastor and his wife and says, "What are we going to do? How can we fix this?" Well, the pastor's wife says, "Who cares? There's a party going on downstairs. Let's go party. It'll be fine." So that exposed to us what it meant that, okay, the pastor's agendas are off now. The covering were no longer, they weren't going to be protecting and helping you fix the situations anymore. So that combined with this led to this couple leaving this church. But it wasn't because of this. It led to a confirmation to leaving the church. So anyways, the last and final, always include God in every dream interpretation. A lot of people are so set on books. Books are important. People's experiences are important. But if you're reading a book and something doesn't sit right and they say, pigeons mean this, ask God what it means. Pigeons could mean a dove or Holy Spirit. You know, there's multiple things that God can speak through anything and anyone. So in your dreams, it's important to realize what God is trying to say to you personally. Because each dream is personal. And each dream you interpret is personal to that person. So each time if someone asks you for a dream interpretation and you don't get anything, be wise enough to say, "I really don't know." Don't try. Because a wrongly interpreted dream can lead someone down the wrong path. So if someone's willing to come to you for a dream interpretation, it's a big deal. It seems fun, it seems easy, but it's a big deal. If God's speaking to someone in a dream and you can't figure it out, and you're not hearing God on it, direct them to someone that may help them. Or direct them to a resource that may help them. It's our job to point them all back to God. And in dream interpretation, and gifts, and whatever. And in these instances, it's extremely important to really understand that where we stand in dream interpretations and how we use gifts, how we utilize this to glorify God. If dream interpretation isn't glorifying God, your heart's in the wrong place. That's one thing I learned. Like Olivia realized that when people email me a dream, I take it apart for them and I send it back to them and I explain to them what I did. And then when they send me their next dream the next day, I email them back and said, "Well, taking the steps I sent you, why don't you interpret it? And I'll interpret it as well and compare notes." Because we want to empower the body. We, as pastors, we just want to empower y'all. We want y'all bigger and better than us in everything you do. And that's our goal is to, as we teach things. I think the next thing I'm probably going to teach, not next week, sometime next month, is probably going to be word of knowledge and how to properly use word of knowledge, how to get word of knowledge. When you see how it's used properly. Like Tamisha, Olivia, and I were just talking the other day. We were talking about personality types and how to reach those personality types. There's certain personality types. If you walked up and you know something that they and God only know intimately, they're going to open up instantly. Okay. So, word of knowledge, prophecy. We want to empower y'all and impart things to y'all. You notice that to interpret a dream properly, all you need is a relationship with the Holy Spirit and God. You don't have to be gifted. All you have to do is hear God. All you need is a relationship. And everyone in this room has a relationship with God. That means I'm nothing special. That means all y'all can do it. Obviously, on our cards you can email us a dream if you want to start practicing. If you get a dream, just email it to us. Olivia and I will sit down and pray about it. let you know, the 1 through 5. If I've done more than one, I'll just give you the interpretation and not really break it down. But the third one, I'll just read it over and ask God what it means and just send you the interpretation. But our goal is for y'all to be able to do it yourself. It's so empowering to realize you can interpret your own dreams or interpret the dreams of your brother or sister or your friends and really direct them in the right path. Any questions?
I was going to ask, what if you're like in a time or a season where you're getting a lot of dreams and then all of a sudden you're not, but God is still speaking, but just not through that?
Well, just from my personal experience, the seasons that I just keep dreaming, it's because I'm having issues when I'm awake. I'm having those anxieties and I'm pressured and I'm stressed out at work because I have a day job. So I'm stressed out at work, and in those instances when I'm stressed out, I don't pause, make time with God. God will pause, make time with you. And those dreams and in those seasons are vital, because if you're having a hard time hearing Him when you're awake, and He's talking to you when you're asleep, have a paper and pencil next to you, or you pick up and just record this dream, because it disappears just as quickly as it comes.
I thought something was wrong with me because all of my friends that were prophetic and prophets, they dreamed. I mean, like nonstop.
Yeah.
They could take a nap in the middle of the day and they would dream. But it made me feel weird because I didn't dream.
Yeah.
I used to dream as a little girl, but then all of a sudden there are no dreams. And people say, "Well, you dream, but you just can't remember." I said, "Well, if I do, I have not remembered them for many years. I don't dream, but I do hear God speaking to me as I'm laying down, but I do not dream."
I think to each of us, there are seasons we go through. Maybe God is honing that ability to hear Him loud and clear when you're awake, because you already have the dream down. You're able to dream. Once that season starts happening again, He's going to choose the best method to talk to you. With me, it's an audible voice or internal voice. But most of the time when I hear Him, I just do it. But to others, it has to come in a dream. We all have different personality types, and like Olivia covered certain gifts that I have, and I covered certain gifts that she has, and we're supposed to. We're supposed to say, "Man, God, you're giving that to her. I want to experience that." I remember hearing that God spoke in an audible voice, and I thought that was an Old Testament thing, and I heard a pastor share it, and I went, "That's not fair. I want that." But 3 days in a row, I heard an audible voice. He gave me scripture. Woke me up at 3:33 in the morning. But the third day, I said, "Come on, God, it's 3:33 in the morning. Can you stop and just speak to me at a different time of the day?" Because I had a roommate at that time, my friend Anthony, and I was sleeping. It was Titus something in Titus, the book of Titus. I was freshly saved. I've heard of Matthew, Luke, and John, never heard of Titus, so in fact, we named our dog Titus. But I woke up and I heard Titus, whatever. It was like Mufasa in my room. And I opened my eyes and I sat up. And I looked around and I went, "Anthony, are you in this room?" And nothing was there. I laid back down. Before I closed my eyes, he said exactly the same again. And I sat up and I went, "Okay. If that's God, there has to be a book called Titus," I said. And I said, "There's not a book called Titus, you need to shut up." To that voice. I opened it up to the table of contents. I saw the name Titus, and I repented, and I turned it down. So after I turned back to the scripture and read it, and I went, "Awesome," and I was like, "All right," and I said, "Cool, I can hear from you out loud. You scared me to death," and I rolled over and fell back to sleep. So I woke up, told Anthony, he was like, "What?" And I said, "I asked for it. You should ask for it too." Next day, same thing. 3:33, I wake up, I looked at the time, and it was something in Jeremiah. And then the following week was something, the following day was something in Luke. It was all scriptures I never read before, never heard before. But it's so interesting that when you see someone with gifts, honor one another. But it's okay for you to say, I want that too. God's a good father. Noelle probably looks at Perla and goes, when mom does it, I want to do that too. Perla isn't going to go, he ain't good enough. Perla's going to show her. Like Nikki's going to show y'all. If y'all see your mom doing something better. I know she was pretty awesome in volleyball, right? Was it volleyball and basketball you played? Yeah. One because she was a lot taller than everybody. But I swear, if y'all look at your mom and say, Mom, how do you do that? You show me. A good parent is going to say, of course. And being that as fathers there, we look at our father and go, God, how did you do that to Olivia? Will you show me? He's a good father. He's going to say, yes, of course. It may take you a day. It may take you 10 years. But he wants you to have everything he has. You have full access to heaven. The moment Jesus died and grabbed those keys and went to heaven, grabbed the keys from hell and went to heaven, he released the kingdom of heaven for us. He said, now it's at hand. Everywhere we go, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Right? So dream interpretation, when someone asked me one time, do you know dream interpretation, like biblically? And I went, is that in the Bible? And they said, yeah. And they showed it to me. And I went, yes, I do. They said, you didn't even know it was in the Bible. And I said, well, I know my God will teach me. I said, what's your dream? And they told me, and I went, I don't know if that's a dream from God. I said, and I went, oh, wait, it is. That's how I started interpreting. And they looked at me and said, what do you mean it wasn't and it is? And I said, well, it didn't sound like something from God, and God just said, yes, it was. Okay, tell me the dream again. And that's how I learned how to do it. And you'll be shocked how simple a walk with Christ is. Don't go to a church that complicates it. It's simple. Jesus lived for you. He suffered for you. He died for you. And he gave you full access to heaven. For you, personally. And I think that's the beauty of the gospel that a lot of people miss. And I was sharing with Nikki today that's the beauty of the gospel, because that's the God I met when I got saved as a Buddhist. Is a God that says, you want to learn, I will teach you. You want that, I'll give it to you. And you ask God how, he'll show you. He may lead you to a church to show you how to dream interpret easily. Those 5 steps can be broken down into one. God, what does it mean? Right? And that's what I do typically. After I interpret a dream 2 or 3 times to someone, I just say, God, what does it mean? I don't have enough time to sit here and break it down for them. However, to me, that's practical to someone that says, it shows you how every detail is important. Every detail of a vision is the same way. I had a vision when during worship I shared about the dam. I was there and I saw a river flowing slow. It was a slow flowing river, which is not a good thing. And I saw a bricks being built up on this river. And it started becoming a dam. And suddenly I saw the water backing up and filling up the back. So I'm watching these things. All those details matter. It's a slow-moving river. God's probably saying, hey, your church looks like a trickle right now, but I'm about to turn up the power. Right? We've had 20-something people one day. We had 15 the following week. And last week we had 4 or 5. And this week we have a house full again. I was deterred last week. I went, what happened to everybody? You know? And this week I said, if no one comes, it's fine. I'm going to preach my heart out. And that's the trickle. Now the preaching the heart out is where the power comes. I believe what I saw isn't just for our church. It's for the members of people who visited who heard it today. People who heard it online. That trickle that's going on in your life, those areas of your life where you go, man, I'm just not moving. God says, don't worry, I'm building a dam. And not only are you going to move, you're going to start moving with power.
Jeez.
Right? And when you hear prophetic words, it's the same thing. Because I learned from Olivia how important the visions I was getting were, because I had no idea the visions I was getting. If before I met Olivia, I saw visions like that, and I would never tell anybody. And I would never ask God what they meant, because I thought the audible voice was the most important to cover. But God's voice is audible, is visual, it's emotional. People think voices is a thing you hear, but God's voice is omnipresent. Yeah?
The times that he's spoken to me has always been visual, hardly ever audible. And well, most times it's easy to understand. There's sometimes where there's really not a conclusion for me to follow.
Yeah. And so when it's visual, these steps I taught apply. You see a visual thing. I saw the water trickling, and I'm like, okay, I have to start. I have to remember these details now. And there are some instances when he's giving me a full vision quickly. And I'll pick it up and start texting the details only. And then I go back and then fill in the dialogue later. And those details matter. Trust me, we're all prophetic. Because Jesus is prophetic. We have all that he has, right? In those instances, we have to first realize you're prophetic. Your prophetic gift isn't going to manifest the same way as Nikki's does, or the same way as Crystal's does. Surprisingly, your gift manifests the same way mine does.
He's always visual.
You're a seer. You're a seer, but you know what? I wasn't expecting to get into prophecy and stuff, but after we're done, we'll pray for people and impart. If y'all want to move beyond your normal way of prophesying and seeing or hearing, let me know. Yeah, so you're seeing. You want to hear too? You want to feel too?
I want to make a breakthrough.
Perfect. God's a God of breakthrough.
Yes,
And that's the thing. If we're able to view him as a good father, it's good that it's Father's Day, because if we can view him as a good father, a father of abundance, a father that wants to provide, I can tell that father part is hitting you. He loves you. He says he's never going to forsake you. He's never going to leave you. And he's never going to hurt you. The pains you experienced in the past weren't because of him. It's because the enemy knows you see in the spirit. The enemy knows that if you're unwilling to see God as a father, you'll be less effective for the kingdom of heaven.
Well, I finally got understanding from the last time that I was with you in Namibia.
Yeah.
I finally got understanding like the following week about the conversation we had at the altar.
Yeah, and you see, as God the Father starts to reveal himself, and you start to see him as that identity, you're going to see you step into your identity. Because he has so many different identities, right? One of the first scriptures I read was he's a truth, the way, and the life. Well, God told me those are titles. He's the truth. He is the way. He is the life. Those are titles. And then later on it says God is love. That's a title. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Those are titles. Suddenly it all made sense. And God's looking at you, wanting to be the father, the provider, the lover, the one that will protect him. And you'll watch him rock your world when you're able to know each identity, each title. Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha, all these titles are provisions that he's willing to give. But I would say God the Father is the most personal. Because God the Father brought God the Son to die for us.
Right.
So we're suddenly His bloodline again. My father's probably watching in Vietnam right now, but I had issues with my father growing up. He's in Vietnam right now. He moved there 2 or 3 years ago. I had issues with him. But some reason, for me, when I heard God the Father, God says, I'm different than your earthly father. When I heard that, I said, how? I said, how? And He showed me. I think as a parent, God the parent wants a child that asks how. Asks a lot of questions. I was a kid that asked a lot of questions. I know people, I still do. But ask questions to your father. Don't be afraid of His love. Because wherever His love touches, God love touches, comes alive. And the things that have been broken, God touches, come healed. Things that have been dormant, God touches, come alive. So, we're going to end soon in prayer, and then I like to end the service with always an offer for rededication and for salvation, because to people who are watching online. But after that, if y'all want prayer for anything, run up to Olivia or I, and whether you say, hey, I want to hear Him in a different way, I want to see Him in a different way, I want to be able to experience Him in a different way, whatever it is, we'll pray for Him. I believe you said you need breakthrough. And God is going to provide breakthrough. So if you're watching today and you want to rededicate your life to God, or this is the first time you've heard of Jesus Christ, the Savior, the Son of God, and you want to give yourself over to Him, just repeat after me. Say, God, my heart yearns for you. I love you. I make you my Lord and Savior. Wash me clean in your blood and make me whole. In Jesus' name, amen. And I believe that if you prayed that, you are a new creation. Everything you've heard us talk about today, from dream interpretations to the love of God, it's all yours. Amen. All right, y'all need prayer. Come on up.